You ever sit back and wonder, why would a woman who's married, who's built a life with someone, start looking outside her relationship for attention? It's one of those questions that people are afraid to ask out loud. It makes folks uncomfortable. It makes couples shift in their seats. And yet, it happens more often than we like to admit. Now listen, this isn't about judgment. This isn't about finger-pointing or blaming just one side. This is about understanding something deeper. If we don't talk about it, if we keep sweeping this stuff under the rug, we'll never learn anything from it. So today, we're digging in. We're going to take a raw, honest look at why some married women, despite having husbands, families, homes, still find themselves drawn to attention from outside sources. And it's not always what you think. Let's get into it. When a woman gets married, she doesn't suddenly stop being human. She doesn't stop needing to feel seen, heard, and valued. She might change her last name. She might share a mortgage. But her emotional needs don't just disappear. And here's what a lot of people forget. Attention is not always about wanting a new relationship. Sometimes it's about missing a part of yourself that's been quiet for too long. Picture this. There's a woman, she's been married for, say, 8 years. She's raising kids, she's working or managing the household, and somewhere along the way, she stopped hearing the words, "You're beautiful. I'm proud of you. You matter to me." Her husband's not a bad guy, he's just busy, distracted, tired. Life gets real. But here comes a coworker or a friend or even just someone online who notices, who compliments her, who makes her feel like a woman again, not just a mom, not just a wife, not just someone checking boxes. And that spark, that little bit of recognition, it can light a fire, not because she's disloyal, but because she's starving, not for a man, but for meaning, for connection, for that feeling of being alive. And let's be honest, it can be intoxicating, that validation, that attention, that sense that, hey, maybe I still got it. 1. Of the biggest myths about marriage is that just because you're together, you're not lonely. But loneliness doesn't mean you're alone. It means you feel unseen. There are thousands of women sitting next to their husbands every night, eating dinner in silence, scrolling on separate phones, sleeping back to back. And you know what's scary? They're not fighting, they're just disconnected. And when disconnection goes unchecked, it becomes distance, and then that distance becomes a wall. And after enough time, that wall feels impossible to break down. So when someone starts giving her that attention, from a colleague, an old flame, a stranger, it feels like oxygen, and she breathes it in like she's been holding her breath for years. This is where things get complicated. Because now she's faced with a dilemma: stay quiet in the loneliness, or chase a feeling she hasn't felt in a long time. And again, it's not always about cheating. Sometimes it's just a DM, a smile, a thought. But even that thought, that's a sign that something is missing. Not in him, not in her, but in them. There's a major difference between love and validation. Love is steady, it's deep, it's built over time. Validation is instant. It's sugar, sweet, addictive, and short-lived. And sometimes, married women are not chasing love outside their marriage. They're chasing that hit of validation. That quick fix of "you're still attractive" or "you're still wanted," especially if it's been months, sometimes years, since they heard that at home. See, in marriage, it's easy to fall into patterns. You stop flirting. You stop dressing up for each other. You stop making time for little things. And without realizing it, you become roommates who share responsibilities but not romance. So what happens when someone else steps in and brings back that playful energy, that flirtation, that attention that used to come so naturally from your spouse? It's not about being ungrateful. It's about missing something she used to feel. And that's dangerous if it's left unchecked. Because validation can trick the mind into thinking it's love. But it's not. It's a distraction, a substitute. And the real issue isn't her wanting attention. It's why she's not getting it where she should be. Here's something that rarely gets said out loud. A lot of women who seek attention outside their marriage didn't start off wanting it. They tried to talk about what was wrong. They dropped hints. They asked for more affection, more time, more connection. And often they were dismissed. Or told, it's just a phase. Or, I'm busy. Or worse, made to feel like they were being too needy. Eventually, they stopped asking. But the need didn't go away. It just went underground. So when attention shows up elsewhere, it's not just tempting, it feels like justice. Like, finally, someone sees me, someone gets it. And let's not pretend like women are the only ones who feel this. Men go through this too. But this isn't about blame. It's about paying attention to the signs before it's too late. When someone feels invisible, they start looking for mirrors, and sometimes those mirrors show up in the wrong places. Let's talk about the world we live in right now. Social media, DMs, likes, filters, all of it. It's never been easier to feel wanted by someone who isn't your partner. One post, one message, one like, and suddenly someone's in your inbox saying all the things you haven't heard in years. And it's subtle at first, just a compliment, a harmless chat. But it doesn't take much to light a spark when the fire at home is low. A married woman who's feeling neglected might not even go looking for attention. It might just fall into her lap. And if she's vulnerable, stressed, or emotionally starved, that small interaction can turn into something much deeper, much faster. Technology hasn't changed human nature. It's just made it more accessible. And more dangerous if you're not grounded. That's why communication in a marriage is everything. Without it, outside attention can feel like a rescue boat. But in truth, it's usually just a leak in disguise. So what happens when a married woman starts to seek outside attention? Is it the end of the marriage? Not always. But it is a wake-up call. Because here's the truth. Most women don't want to replace their husbands. They want to repair what's broken. They want to feel chosen again, desired again, prioritized again. But if those needs continue to be ignored, they may start to believe that the only way to feel alive again is to go somewhere else. This is where couples need to stop avoiding hard conversations. How are we doing? What do you need from me? Are you feeling seen? These aren't just check-ins, they're lifelines. A marriage can survive outside attention, but only if both people are willing to be honest, to be vulnerable, and to show up again. Not just as partners, but as lovers, as teammates, as humans. So here's the takeaway. When a married woman seeks attention outside her marriage, it's rarely about betrayal. It's about a need that's gone unmet for too long. It's about emotional hunger, about disconnection, about being human in a relationship that stopped feeling alive. The answer isn't in blaming her or her husband. The answer is in understanding the why, because only when we understand it can we begin to fix it. Relationships are living things. They need care, attention, affection, and when they go on autopilot, they start to drift. If you're in a relationship right now, don't wait until someone's looking outside for what they should be getting inside. Talk, listen, show up. Because, in the end, attention doesn't have to come from the outside, if you're still willing to give it on the inside. Thanks for watching.